Hey everybody, good morning. Jeff here with Al Palmonari. 22 years as a realtor, 19 years as a broker owner. Been with EXP now for a little while, but got a great story to tell. We're going to share some good stuff. Stick with us. Here we go. There you go. How was that, Al?
Man, that was a great intro. I love that.
It's a show. It's a
No
show.
kidding. Wow.
Anyway, back from Florida. You had a good time in Florida?
Absolutely did. Yes. We did some investments down there. My wife is currently licensed down there. She's actually been licensed for 6 years. We just really started working that because EXP allows us to do that. It's just one cap, so it's just really easy now.
Yeah.
She used to have to be with another company, and then it was just a mess. But at any rate,
You're buying some condos and stuff down there, right? So what you
we purchased a condo in August, and that's been rented on Airbnb, VRBO. It's been doing very well. So if anybody needs any information about that area, we're mainly Pompano Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Miami. Just been doing great. I mean, right on the beach. And Florida is less expensive than Colorado by far in some areas.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you'd be surprised. Their market's a little different than ours.
That's awesome.
But it's been great. We're under contract on our second one right now.
Are you really? Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. So, well, good. Well, real quick, share with everybody your story. You've been, like I said there in the intro, you've been doing this 22 years. You told me as a realtor, 19 years as a broker owner. Just tell your story. What were you doing before real estate? How'd you get into real estate?
It's really strange. I was an electronics tech in the military, and I try to simplify it that way. My wife was, because you should tell them what you really did. I was electronics tech in the military, worked on mainly Apaches and, things that fly and engage and things like that. But the reason I'm in real estate is I had an incredible real estate agent. And I don't know if anybody has that story. I hope that I'm that story for some people. I know there's a couple agents that are agents because of me, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. But electronics tech, a little over 10 years in the Army. Like I said, my mentor, I will call her my mentor, got me into real estate just because she said, "Hey, do you want to be my property manager when you get out of the Army?" I said, "Well, I don't know. Sounds good. I could probably be a property manager." I had a couple of rentals at the time, sort of still liked it. And well, long story short on that, she decided not to do property management, and I decided I didn't want to be a property manager. So went forward with my real estate career. Started at I started Coldwell Banker locally. They had, I guess, corporate came in and bought two companies, merged them together. And at that point, my mentor got brought into that. She was with that private company and then was brought in. And I joined because of her. It didn't matter what the splits were. It didn't matter, who the owner was. It mattered where my mentor was, which was great. But I joined that company at a 55-45 split. Yeah, you're smiling.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. So, I mean, all the new guys really got hurt, but it was a great learning process. I learned from a lot of agents that are still in the business, incredible agents. And I think that's key when you join a company. You absolutely have to have some good training. And we did. We really did back then. It was really the private company that they absorbed that really had the training. The gentleman that owned that company passed just last year. Great gentleman. Don't want to really mention his name, but anyway, I'll just move forward on the story. Throughout the years, went to several other companies, large companies, local owned companies, national, international companies. And what I ultimately decided to do back in 2003, and that's the beginning of the broker owner thing, was start my own. I had a broker that said he didn't make any money off of real estate agents. I just kind of laughed and went, "Wait a minute, what?" But I didn't understand his pain back then. And kind of now I do, because being through that process, people coming in the front door, leaving out the back door, the overhead, the liability, all of those things that the broker owner endures. I realized that throughout the years, but it was a learning process.
Right.
Fast forward a couple more years, I closed that one company, started with another. I figured, I'm done with that broker owner thing. And then just 2 short years later, the ownership of the corporation said, "Hey, Al, would you like a branch?" And I think it's like childbirth. You forget the pain, as the ladies tell me, and then you do it again.
Yeah.
So I did it again with the company local here. Is it okay to mention the name or no?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, it was Equity Colorado Real Estate,
Sure.
and it was a smooth transition. It's a good company. I'm not going to talk bad about any company, and there's a purpose and a reason, I think, for every company model. And that went well. We went from 0 agents to 215 agents in about 2.5 years, just under 2.5 years.
That's huge.
We were the newest branch, then we were the highest producing as far as recruiting and just growing. And it was a great company. My partner and I decided to go different ways, just had different ideas on how to run the company. And so she bought me out about 3 years ago. I was retained on for another year, but the whole time I was searching. I think I interviewed with most companies here in town. I mean, anywhere from the big names to the mom and pops to, every kind of pay plan, everything that you can imagine. I mean, if you ran the gamut of real estate, I did it that year as far as interviews. Sometimes several a day. I had to take notes just to remember everything, which led me to EXP.
Right.
And it was down to a couple companies. And I was just kind of looking at one against the other. And what I came up with was every one was essentially the same company, just as a matter of how much I'm paying the broker, how quickly. Instead of agent-centric, this tools that are in one place. And I was trying to find that. Of all things, I knew that was the most important to me. Because in my last company, we were trying to do that, but it was all fragmented.
Right.
And what I mean, you had to log in over here to do this thing and log in over here to do this thing. And these two things didn't talk, but you needed them to talk. And the tools that I was looking for just weren't out there. I heard from many broker owners, we're really trying to do that. We're about to implement that system. We're 4 years running and still trying to get that system together. And, that was a pain point for me. I said, where can we find this? Well, EXP had it. I said, okay, well, that's one good thing for you guys. So what's next? Then they started rev share. I'm like, well, that's nice. That's wait a minute, talk to me more about that. And that was explained to me, and I really didn't quite get it. I think the first, second, third time. And then it just clicked. Did a calculator with me, and I said, well, you show that. Wait, those numbers can't be real. I said, show that to me again. Let's move these. Let's move these around to.
There's got to be a catch,
realistic. Oh yeah, always looking for the catch. I mean, I was that.
And I was there. That's where I was at. I mean, and I didn't do anything as far as reaching out to agents. My first 1.5 years, really, not hardly a couple, but it wasn't my focus at all.
Right. I'm 2 years with the company now. 2 years with the company. I've reached out to only a few people, and I do mean few. And I have a couple team members. And they're superstars. I mean, I'll just name names. I don't care.
Yeah.
Terry McRae, absolute superstar. Love that lady. Jennifer Nisley, absolute awesome lady. Everybody knows her.
Absolutely.
She's done great things throughout the years as well. So, I mean, these people are top-notch agents. And then once I was, just to kind of segue real quick, here I am 2 years into EXP, and we have superstars coming up. People don't know their names yet, but they're absolutely coming hard. I mean, they're incredible agents, and they're coming on really hard. And that's not what made my decision. What made my decision, all those great agents, a lot of people look at that and they go, well, now you guys got Lauren Schneider and Amy Fletcher and Treasure Davis. Yeah, we do. There's a reason for that. Those people are very savvy. They know what they're doing in this business, not only in real estate, but in business. So when you look at those people, you're like, wow, they're incredible. But again, that didn't make my decision at the time. But people should pay attention to that. At the time, I had a different mindset. I was a little kind of self-centered. I'm like, what's this company going to give to me?
Mhm.
As we should, because our family has to be our focus. So
Right.
that's what we're in it for. Well, what's it going to do for me? So again, it had my tools. Well, it's definitely doing that for me. It had some options that no other company had, as far as stocks. Buying stocks at a discount? Come on, who has buying stocks at a discount? I know you can go out and buy your own stocks. I get that. I've heard that.
Yeah.
But why not buy them at a discount? Doing the thing that you're already doing and getting compensation, additional
Yeah.
compensation
Yeah.
for
I
it.
do love when I hear some of the agents in town that I talk to, or different ones I've talked to, even over the country. Oh yeah, no, I buy your stock, but they're over. I mean, it's like,
You want to go, thank you.
absolutely, like that's kind of cool.
You're building my company, and I appreciate it.
No, it's such a nice bonus that we get. I mean, my wife and I, because we have that option here. I mean, just so if you're watching, you can buy stock at a discount with a part of your commission out of your closing if you want to. It's completely optional.
And
I
we
mean,
do
my
it.
wife and I have done it with every deal we've done since we've been
Everyone.
here, 50, 60 deals a year. And man, that's adding up in a big way.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And people don't
Big
really
time.
understand that.
Yeah.
And I wish that I hope people can see this video so that gets conveyed to them.
Yeah.
But then it compensates you for helping others too, helping grow their business. I mean, we get stocks for when our people close their first transaction or when we cap. I mean, come on, it's literally free money. It's
Yeah.
literally free money that most other companies don't have. And I know I'm going to get pushback and I'm going to get calls about this video and going, hey, you're talking about the stock. I sure did.
Yeah.
But I also want to talk about the people in this business. Oftentimes, I had an office and people didn't really spend too much time in the office. If they did, they almost felt like they had to. We had, I think, one agent that felt he had to come to the office, and he worked at the office for about an hour and then he was gone.
Mm-hmm.
But the office, I always felt this way. And again, it's a personal opinion, but if you're in the office, you're probably not making money. You need to be out there meeting people, talking to people, doing your business. I mean, there's a time and place for the office. Of course, we need that. I spend time in my home office, a lot of time in my home office, and it's productive.
Mm-hmm.
But there's this false sense of my business is going to grow because I have an office, and it's just not been the case with me at all. I had a lender call me earlier this year. He goes, Al, do you know you increased your business by 86% this year? What? No, I didn't know that. I'm glad you're keeping track for me.
Yeah.
And I think your numbers are skewed. But I attribute that to this business model. I want you to understand this business model.
Right.
Collaboration. People may think that you directly make money by me. They have no idea that you're not involved with me at all,
I'm
other
not
than
connected to you at all financially.
you actually help mentor me and people don't know that.
Yeah.
You have put on presentations for the last 2 years for me and my group, with no advantage to you other than getting the model out there and showing people how they can have an exit strategy to real estate. They don't know that.
I think, for me, Al, I'm passionate about doing it because I've been doing this 20 years and I've been in different models, and there's all good, and again, good companies. I would never say a bad thing about any of these companies. They all have their pluses, and they all, and this isn't perfect. I mean, it's like, there's no perfect company out there. I mean, there's going to be things, but I think when I saw this, I just I've been there where I've needed that passive income. And I tell the story at the lunch a lot of times when we do a lunch or different people, when I show them, EXP, I'm like, we don't think about that stuff. We don't think about the curveballs that come out of nowhere,
right?
That can put us out of business if we're not ready for it. You know what I mean? When I got diagnosed, 6 years ago, prostate cancer, I wasn't ready for that. I was just going in for a checkup.
How could you
these
be?
numbers don't look right. We need to send you to a specialist, whatever. And oh, by the way, I hate to tell you this, but, and you get that news. And I mean, I remember all of a sudden it was like, my ears went numb, kind of like when you walk out of a concert, it's really loud, kind of for about 30 seconds, just that, I didn't hear a word he was saying. It's like the Charlie Brown teacher, wah, 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 whatever. And then all of a sudden it starts coming back and okay, I'm like, well, what do we do? And ended up having surgery. But for about 6 months, my wife and I had no closings of our own on purpose,
Right.
because we just didn't have to focus on that. We could focus on me getting through that, getting my health back, taking care of our family, taking care of our kids. Financially, it wasn't a challenge because we had enough money coming in from other streams of income, rental properties, another business that we had built that was paying us every month, whatever. Like the bills were covered. I wasn't stressed out financially.
Good
And
feeling.
you know how it is. Most realtors out there, I mean, a couple, 2, 3 months, and they're out of business if there's
Oh
no
yeah.
closings. And it's just, and I'm passionate about helping realtors understand that and just be ready for that. I'd rather have a backup plan and not need it than need it and not have it. And
Absolutely.
most of the time, that's what happens. But we're not planning on any of that stuff.
Right.
We're not planning on wrecking the car. We're not planning on just things that happen. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
life.
life.
You
It's
don't wish
life.
that on anybody. I mean, crazy stuff that can just come out of nowhere. And I just think, that's one of the things I love about this. And I'm passionate about helping other people just, and maybe this isn't it, but at least get that multiple streams of income coming in so that you're ready for those challenges when they come. Not if, but
Absolutely.
when, because they will come at some point.
I mean,
So
the business itself is like a roller coaster anyway. People go, "Oh no, you can smooth it out." Yes, you can smooth it out. I get that.
yeah,
Not everybody can smooth it out,
right.
and it's full of ups and downs and full of ups and downs. Well, what if you had that additional income? And a lot of people don't think about that passive residual that comes in. That smooths out your business. It really
Mhm.
does.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just one thing.
yeah, for
But
sure. I love
um,
helping the realtors here though, and you're right. I mean, like I love doing those presentations. Like I open it up to everybody, whoever wants to come, and most, and again, 3/4 of the room in there, like I don't benefit at all
right,
financially,
not at all. And
but I
I've
know
known
what it
that
does
since
to those agents that come in. So it's just, I'm passionate about just helping where I
yeah.
can, for sure. Let me ask you real quick, because, when you shifted over, there's some people are going to watch this. Maybe they've been in business 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. They want to go to the next level. And so you start thinking about like leverage and stuff. Should I build a team? Should I bring a couple of buyer agents in with me? Should I go get my broker's license and start my own brokerage? I mean, I used to get that question all the time. Hey, start your own company. We'll come with you.
Right. I mean,
And I
isn't
just never wanted that liability personally. That was
well,
my biggest thing. But
I'm glad you said liability, and I'm going to touch on that. But aren't we kind of groomed when we learn the business? We go, okay, so you're an agent now, but in 2 years, just in 2 years, you could possibly be a broker. And you're going, oh yeah, I can get overrides on people and leverage myself over a group, and that sounds great. But with all that comes that word you said, liability.
yeah,
Not only if you're the team lead or if you're the managing broker. The managing broker has all the liability. And I think a lot of agents don't realize that. You have a license to sell probably the most expensive thing that most people will ever buy in their lifetime, and something goes wrong. What happens? Well, they bring the agent into it right away. Well, along with the agent is the broker. I've sat in mediation for mistakes that I didn't make, but the agent did. And our goal was to protect our agent, of course, and make sure that we did everything right. But the liability is still there. Ultimately, it's still there. Insurance pays out. It's not pretty. It's just not pretty. Um, Overhead. That's another liability that we have. Overhead on the office, and that's something that we don't have in EXP, which is wonderful. People go, "Oh, you go in that virtual world." Yep, we sure do, and probably get better results. Um, when I was the broker, we had, like I said, several hundred agents. Well, there's only so much time in the day for a broker to give you all your answers, and some of those things might be that have to do with the company more than a transaction. Well, with EXP, you can get your answers right away, virtually at home. You don't even have to go into the office or call the office and just log in.
right.
Whereas my availability wasn't always there, but it was intense. It was to the point where I was about to hire someone else to start answering questions as well. So, and then that creates additional liability for you because you don't know what that agent's going to say. So, I mean,
Yeah.
the liability, if that's the word we're using, it's a constant. So we also had overhead on our office.
Mm-hmm.
Again, people walking in and being recruited out the back door. That's a constant for a broker. That's why everybody's getting their calls right now. You know how many calls you're getting, how many texts, how many emails. This is prime time for people to recruit and even telemarketers. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
if someone called me and said, Jeff Morrell wants to talk to you, I'm like, why didn't Jeff call me? He knows me. Why didn't he call me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of that silliness is happening right now. But when you look at what the broker owner, managing broker has to endure, you've heard some of the negatives. But what if you were a brand new agent and you could say to your buddy that went to real estate school with you, man, I found the greatest company ever. I think you should take a look. And they actually take a look and want to join. That agent is getting the same override, actually probably a little better, than any broker owner out there. So instead of waiting, they can become someone that is leveraging other agents right away without taking away from that other agent, which is the beauty of it. Yeah. That's what I love. It doesn't hurt the other agent in any way. It doesn't cost them any additional money. And now the newest agent has the positives of being a broker owner. Mm-hmm. Just incredible to me. Yeah. This system is just, sorry.
Weren't you just recently dealing, you were recently dealing with like mediation or something, weren't you? Like you were still involved with something. And
yeah, not too long ago. It was not too long ago. Time flies though. I can't remember when it was. And the agent had moved on to another company. I had moved on to another company. And there I was sitting at the mediation table
still dealing
with my old agent and my old partner, and we're at a united front, protecting that agent, of course, because she didn't do any wrong. She was right. But the liability was still there, and we did still pay out an E&O claim, for something that happened years ago.
Yeah.
So the liability chases you for a while. It follows you for a while as a managing broker. Whereas, like my scenario just now, that new agent, they have no liability. The managing broker at EXP has the liability, which is beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I love what you said. I think, it's a level playing field here. I mean, every agent from the brand new one that just got licensed to, the 22-year veteran like yourself, we all have the same opportunity here. And if we want to,
yes,
in terms of reaching out to agents, whatever, but we all get the stock bonuses and all that stuff that comes in, ownership in the company, which is huge. The brand new agent. What would you say to, because there are broker owners that are going to watch this, and again, they just, they haven't looked, they don't want to look, they've been approached by it, like, no, I got my company. Why would I ever look at another, whatever? I've been there, done that. I'm at 100%, or all the different things that broker owners, the objections that we tend to get. What would you say to that person that has never looked, and they're almost refusing to look? What would you say to that person?
I think they owe it to themselves, their agents, their own family to take a look.
Mm-hmm.
There's advantages to this, and this is not the short game. For a broker owner, it's a little bit longer game. They need to look at numbers, and they're numbers people. They can calculate things like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
And I think they need to really look at the business model. And instead of thinking immediately what I'm going to make out of this, I want them to look down the road 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, maybe 10 years versus what they're doing now, because they're on their hamster wheel now and they don't understand it. And when we're talking about what they're doing, it's more local. When it comes down to it, it's local for the most part. There's teams out there that, they have expansion teams, and I get that. But you're able to do that here with every person that comes into the group, not only here, but internationally. We're expanding so rapidly around the world that broker owner needs to understand it's not local anymore. They're not dealing with just the local business that they can attain within their area. We're looking at essentially most agents probably work the whole Front Range, or at least they try,
Sure.
Pueblo to Denver and beyond. That's great. But I know you have agents in other states, other countries.
Mm-hmm.
And a broker owner can't say, I have this over here in this other country without having additional liability, additional costs, different additional infrastructure that they have to put together to be able to manage that.
Yeah.
And if they look at the immediate short term, I think they miss it. If they look just a short time down the road, they will be blown away.
Yeah.
And I would say it's worth it to take a look, to tear it apart, ask someone that's already in the business or has done it. Hey, what have you seen? And I think they're going to be surprised.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely surprised.
I do hear, and I genuinely believe the broker owners that we got great broker owners in this town, whatever, for sure. A lot of great agents, and I genuinely believe that they care about their agents.
Yes.
They want the best for their agents. They want them to succeed. They're not, I don't know hardly any that are just, let's just bring as many people in we can. I can make as much money as possible. And I don't care how they do production wise. Like, we want them to succeed. I think broker owners want that, for the most part. But you're right. I think they owe it to their agents to take a look at this, because it's such a win for the broker, but it's such a win for the agents as well, if they really understand it. And you got to get past them that. I mean, you brought up Treasure Davis. I mean, from what I heard, it took her 3 years of digging through this, and she, she cares about her company. She cares about her reputation. She cares about her agents and her group, and phenomenal agent, obviously, and after 3 years of diving in, she brought her whole company over here, and there's hundreds of stories like that happening across the country, every year with these broker owners. Once they see it and get it, it's such a win for everybody. But that goes away, ownership, more training, more, all the stuff that just comes along with this.
Well, I think as a broker owner as well, we were always trying to implement, like you said, training. I think we had a lot of training every week, but nothing like what's available. We had some of the best trainers local, absolutely best trainers local that we could find. But here we're talking about the best trainers nationally. And soon to be probably internationally.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the training is just incredible. I can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
There's no way that I don't think that you can keep up with it. There's just so much being fed to us. I mean,
it's
pick and choose.
80 plus hours a week.
I actually said something to my wife this morning that was just, it almost sounded hilarious to me once I said it. I'm like, hey, we need to binge watch this particular title. And I said, we need to binge watch something, is what I said first. And she just kind of looked at me like, what? And then I told her what the subject was. And she's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then she knew what I was talking about. She's like, what? Binge watch? You talking about? But it was a lot of training that we have available. So much training that we have available. Which goes back to another reason why I joined. I said agent centric earlier. And I used to use that word in my old company because at the time I felt that it was. But now I know better. And I know that we have those things available for the agent to expand their business, to grow their business.
Yeah.
I've done more business easier. I mean, not that I'm lazy, not lazy, sure. But what I'm saying is that the business has come to me easier because of the tools that I have.
Right. So work smarter, not harder.
It's exactly what it is. And, it's great. The last 2 years, I've had my best 2 years.
Good for you.
And I'm sure a lot of agents go, oh, yeah, it's because of the economy. Sort of. But definitely worked smarter and still turned some great numbers.
Tools and systems. Let me ask you real quick, and we'll wrap it up. 5 years from now, where do you want to be? You and Kristen. I mean, you're obviously buying some properties down there in Florida, which is great. Like, you're diversifying yourself out. Where do you want to be as far as your real estate business 5 years from now?
Okay, 5 years from now. I will tell you, I'm actually going to get my Florida license as well, in the process right now.
Okay.
So we'll definitely both be licensed down there. So I'll take some of the stress off of her doing all that business. Mm-hmm. 5 years. I believe that we're going to have additional properties, of course. Our business, as far as real estate, will probably be, I'm going to say 5 years from now, we'll probably at least double from where we are now at a minimum. It's probably the goal over the next 2 years. Mm-hmm. And we're able to do it within the system.
Yeah.
I'm going to have passive residual income that exceeds my current income. And I hope people hear that. So I'm just going to say it again. My passive residual income is going to exceed what I currently make in real estate, what I live on, provide for my family, and buy additional properties. I'm buying 2 additional properties this year. And they're investments, so you got to put a lot of money down. So, I mean, and that's extra, you know. I believe that I'll be in a better position to help more agents, which is something that I really like to do. Do it as much as I can. I have agents call me from my old company, people that I've known for years. Some of our EXP agents, of course, they tap into our group because we absolutely help each other. I mean, that's what we do. So I just see exponential growth. I guess if I started lining out everything, it would just be exponential growth that I think that I may not even be able to conceive right now. You know, and that's exciting to me. You know, when you could say, "Oh, I'm definitely going to do this," well, that's a shame. But this is something bigger than the average company, first of all, and it's bigger than a normal thought process, because the normal thought process is very linear, and I think this is just going to absolutely explode.
Right.
Well, it is. We're adding more than 1,000 agents a week.
Oh, I know.
So, I mean,
it's just been crazy. You know,
it's crazy to me.
It's been crazy to watch. It's been fun to watch. You know, I know when I saw this, 4 years ago now, I'm just like, God, what if this thing does what I think it could do? Like, I just didn't want to miss it. I'm like, whatever. Nobody heard of it. I was the 13th agent in town here to join. I'm like, I knew I wasn't locked in. If it didn't work, I could go back to where I was. Everything would be fine. Whatever.
Right.
Just like, God, what if? I don't want to. I want to ride the wave if there's going to be a wave. Oh my
well,
God.
I'm glad you did, because you really help a lot of people, including myself. And I'll just say that again. But
that wave is just starting. I want to emphasize that. I feel like we're just at the beginning of the wave, but I'm more excited now than I was 4 years ago. Like it's just it's done way more than what I ever thought it would do.
Well, the system's proving itself to you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I see why you're excited, because you're asking me 5 years from now, and it's already, you're well into that 5 years, if you will. Yeah, it's going to get real exciting for you real quick, I think, in the very near future.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
I mean, the stocks are going. You mentioned I'm getting paid now. I've got agents now in 10 states.
That's
9 plus Colorado. 4 other countries. I'm getting paid on closings in Brazil, Mexico, Canada, India, and those 9 other states here in the U.S. outside of what I'm going to get paid anyway by doing what I've been doing for years. So,
love that. What broker owner can say that? Exactly. What broker owner can say that?
Exactly. I mean, so it's exciting stuff. And I know you mentioned this. You mention this all the time. Whatever you found your forever brokerage. Do you really believe that?
I really do. That's the reason why I say I have found my forever brokerage. I've never said that in my life before until EXP. I bounced around. My first couple of years, I was trying to find that place, and I know a lot of agents have done that.
Sure.
I was one of them, but I had a year to do research before I left my last company. With all the knowledge that I grew throughout those years, so it wasn't like I was new again. I pretty much knew what the broker was going to say before they said it. I've interviewed hundreds of agents, if not over 1,000 here locally.
Yeah.
So I know what my spiel was, and it's kind of cookie cutter after a while, and then I ran into this. Like, this is different.
I think a lot of people it's just another model. And I've looked at these 4 other companies and whatever. It's just, exactly. But I realized when I really looked at it, I'm like, wait, this isn't just another model. It's a completely different model. And people don't understand that without taking a look. And so I just tell people a lot of time, you don't know what you don't know. Like
I agree with that statement.
Doesn't hurt to look. It's free to look. You could, just come look. You can tell me to pound sand after you look. I'll never talk to you again about it. Like, totally good. It's not free.
You have the knowledge. I'm giving you the knowledge and giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. So. Well, Al, I appreciate your time. You're doing awesome, and it's great having you here with us. And seriously, you add so much to just Colorado Springs, the agents here, and everything you're doing as well. And your credibility and who you are and your reputation. I mean, it's phenomenal to have you be a part of this. For sure. So, hey, real quick, I got my mail a little bit before we got on here. Do you get Real Producers magazine? Do you get that
Producers.
magazine at all?
No.
So it's here in town. Brian Gowdy, just to give him a shout out. But yeah, so this just came in the mail today. Look, I'm on the cover.
Whoa, who's that?
We made the cover.
That's awesome.
Little plug here. I gotta read
That
the
is
article.
awesome.
See if they screwed anything up on it. But anyway.
Well, that's well deserved. That's funny. That's well deserved, though, buddy.
No, thank you. I'm excited
because you absolutely do help people, and I think a lot of us look at being a producer as just how much money did I make, how many transactions did I close, and that's it. How much did I take home? What they fail to remember is we need to feed into people, and I love the mindset of the company. We need to keep on feeding the people that are around us, building them up, helping them grow their business. I mean, essentially, in EXP, it helps us grow our business because it's owned by the agents. But as long as we keep feeding into people, I just was reading Success Magazine, and it was one of those things. You give, and giving is not just monetary. I feel like it's more valuable when you're giving from yourself, giving your knowledge, giving your passion, just passing along whatever you can to help the next guy.
Totally.
And obviously I bet you it's in that article. It touches on it, what you're doing for people.
Yeah. It's a big part of what I'm doing, what I'm here for. So love doing it. But anyway, well, good stuff. Al, I appreciate your time. Guys, thank you very much for taking a look. Feel free to reach out to Al, especially like broker owners watching this. I mean, just reach out to us, whatever, just take a look. You don't know what you don't know, like we said.
For sure.
And anyway, big things are happening. So Al, have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week.
You do the same.
Coming up here. So anyway, for those of you here in town, Colorado Springs, we're doing this on Monday, the December 13th. I know this will be recorded and out there for a long, long time, but we do have our lunch on Wednesday at View House. You're more than welcome to join us. It's always paid for by Benton Capital, Mike Benton and his group. They've supported us here for a couple of years. And so we'll be at the lunch there Wednesday. Realtors come between 11:30 and 12. We start a presentation right at 12. It's definitely worth a free lunch. Just come sit in there and reach out to Al, talk to me, whatever. We'll help get your questions answered. That's the main thing, just help you evaluate it. So never hurts to look. Come take a look.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I'm glad I did.
Thank you very much. Yeah, exactly. Me too.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right. You got it, guys. Have a good day. Have a good week, everybody. Thanks.